China, Brazil and now South Africa have offered Kyiv their plans for a peaceful resolution. All these countries are members of the BRICS, an association of 5 states which also includes India and Russia. Russia's interests are clearly seen in the initiatives of China and Brazil. In Beijing's proposals, the war is never called a war, and there is not a word about Russia's responsibility for war crimes. Brazilian President Lula da Silva, shortly before proposing his peace plan, said that Crimea should be given to the Kremlin. And while the South African president is talking about the need for peace in Europe, his top officials have gone to Moscow to discuss defense cooperation.
South Africa is trying to show itself as a neutral partner, as a country that is trying to play a role in the international arena, and at the same time it continues to build up ties with Russia in parallel. This scandal was recently literally due to the fact that a ship could transport weapons from South Africa to Russia, now a delegation in the defense sphere. That is, South Africa has fairly close relations with Russia, and it is unlikely that it will abandon them in the near future.
Moscow stated that they would be glad to get acquainted with the proposals, and President Ramaphosa expressed the hope that this initiative would become an integral part of a future agreement between Russia and Ukraine. Experts assure that all currently available proposals from third countries do not take into account Ukraine's priorities and do not contain a specific action plan to achieve a just peace, as it is in the Ukrainian formula.
In general, these are plans of 2 different types. The peace formula plan for Ukraine, which they are now trying to promote on the side of the G7, is an idea about what will happen after Ukraine's military victory. But these supposedly negotiating plans of Brazil, South Africa, China are still an attempt to freeze the situation.
Western countries support the initiative of Kyiv. Ukraine on the battlefield proved its subjectivity and defended the right to decide when and under what conditions to make peace.
We would support any third-party peace proposal, as long as it can be seen as credible, enforceable and sustainable. And for those 3 things to be the case, it's got to be supported by President Zelensky and the Ukrainian people. Nothing about Ukraine without Ukraine. I've said it a million times. We'll keep saying it. John Kirby, National Security Council Coordinator for Strategic Communications, during the briefing.
For Kyiv, the arrival of a delegation of leaders of African countries is first of all an opportunity to convey their position not only to the political elites of the states of the region, but also to citizens. In addition, it significantly increases the influence of Ukraine in the international arena.
Their arrival will be covered in the media of the African countries themselves, both participating countries and neighbors, and accordingly this is a chance for Ukraine to convey and show the truth that really exists, what Russia is doing. To reach out not only to the officials of these countries, but also to ordinary citizens, so that they also put pressure on them, so that they might go out to rallies somewhere. After all, we know that there is a Ukrainian community in South Africa that comes out to protest. Organizations of the South African Republic, residents of the capital very often join it because they support it and are trying to support the Ukrainian community. They support Ukraine.
For South Africa, the peace initiative, according to experts, is an attempt to improve its reputation because in recent months the country has further secured its latent pro-Russian status. However, at the moment there is simply no alternative to the Ukrainian formula of peace. After all, only it reflects the interests of Ukrainians and protects the values of the civilized world. Reported by Sergey Kulas, Danilo Kobza, UATV News.